Today, instead of doing what we would normally do in which is gameplay or reviews, today we're gonna do I got this book here that I got from Barnes and Nobles, and we're gonna read some scary stories. Alright, so we're starting out with strange and scary things. Pioneers used to entertain themselves by telling scary stories. At night they might gather in somebody's cabin or around a fire to see who could scare the others the most. Now, we're going to get into this right now. These are scary stories about all kinds of things. The ones told here are about a grave, a witch, a man who liked to swim, a hunting trip, and a market basket. There is also one about worms eating a corpse, your corpse. The girl who stood on a grave. Some boys and girls were at a party one night. There was a graveyard down the street, and they were talking about how scary it was. "Don't ever stand on the grave after dark," one of the boys said. "The person inside will grab you. He'll pull you under." "That's not true," one of the girls said. "It's just a superstition." "I'll give you $1 if you can stand on the grave," said the boy. "A grave doesn't scare me," said the girl. "I'll do it right now." The boy handed her his knife. "Stick this knife in one of the graves," he said, "and we'll know you were there." The graveyard was filled with shadows and was quiet as death. There was nothing to be scared of, the girl told herself, but she was scared anyways. She picked out a grave and stood on it. Then quickly she bent over and plunged the knife into the soil. And she started to leave, but she couldn't get away. Something was holding her back. She tried a second time to leave, but she couldn't move. She was filled with horror. "Something has got me!" she screamed, and she fell to the ground. When she didn't come back, the others went to look for her. They found her body sprawled across the grave. Without realizing it, she had plunged the knife through her skirt and pinned it to the ground. It was only the knife that held her. She died of fright. That was the first story. This next story is one of my personal favorites, a new horse. Two farmhands shared a room. One slept in the back of the room, the other slept near the door. After a while, the one who slept near the door began to feel very tired early in the day. His friend asked, "What's wrong?" An awful thing happens every night," he said. "A witch turns me into a horse and rides me all over the countryside." "I'll sleep in your bed tonight," his friend said. "We'll see what happens to me." About midnight, an old woman who lived nearby came into the room. She mumbled some strange words over the farmhand, and she found he couldn't move. Then she slipped a bridle on him and turned him into a horse. The next thing that he knew, she was riding him across the fields at breakneck speed, beating him to make him go even faster. Soon they came to a house where a party was going on. There was a lot of music and dancing. They were having a big time inside. She hitched him to a fence and went in. While she was gone, the farmhand rubbed against the fence until the bridle came off. He turned back into a human being, and then went into the house and found the witch. He spoke these strange words over her. She spoke those strange words over her, and with the bridle she turned her into a horse. And then he rode her to a blacksmith's and had her fitted with horseshoes. After that, he rode her to the farm where she lived. "I have a pretty good filly here," he told her husband, "but I need a stronger horse. Would you like to trade?" So the old man looked her over, and he said that he would do it. So they picked out another horse, and the farmhand rode away. The husband led his new horse to the barn. He took off the bridle and went to hang it up, but when he came back, the new horse was gone. Then instead, there stood his wife with horseshoes nailed to her hands and feet. Alright, if you liked this video, drop a comment, like, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Steve, out.